Hi everybody, today we're going to be analysing quote 6. Our lesson objective is to explain what we can infer when Macbeth says, Macbeth shall sleep no more. So that's the key quotation that we're going to look at today, Macbeth shall sleep no more. The vocabulary that you have warmed up today is remorse and damnation. So we're going to look at how Macbeth has that instant remorse, that instant feeling of regret after he's murdered Duncan, and we're going to link it to this concept of damnation as well, this Christian belief that you will go to hell for your sins. We could also incorporate into our analysis today the words consequence, turmoil, manifestation, and the physical as well. Okay, so these are the words that we could include in our context. So we're going to have a look first of all at that quote, sleep no more, and in order to understand it fully we really need to look at where this quotation takes place. So the quote takes place, Macbeth is the speaker and he is speaking to Lady Macbeth, and these are the words that he says immediately after he has murdered King Duncan. So this is his response straight away to that murder of King Duncan. And I think it's really interesting just to show you that passage, that quotation in relation to the whole passage. So if I just start from here, again this is Macbeth's reaction to the fact that he has killed Duncan. He's just come out of the room and he says, methought I heard a voice cry, sleep no more. Macbeth does murder sleep. The innocent sleep, sleep that knits up the ravelled sleeve of care, till the death of each day's life, sore labour's bath, balm of hurt minds, great nature's second course, chief nourisher in life's feast. Then he goes on, still it cried, sleep no more, to all the house, Glamis hath murdered sleep, and therefore Cawdor shall sleep no more, Macbeth shall sleep no more. So that our key quotation that we're going to look at today isn't just spoken once by Macbeth, it's repeated throughout, and it's actually a motif that is repeated throughout the play, because it's very symbolic, and we're going to look at that today. So he starts by saying Macbeth has murdered sleep, he will never sleep again after the murder of Duncan, and then he starts to talk about the benefits of sleep, what sleep can do to the body. So we're going to first look at this word sleep. Okay, so we've got the noun. Okay, so the noun sleep, okay, the connotations of sleep, if you think physically why we sleep, and Macbeth alludes to it as well, he talks about sleep being able to soothe the body, how it puts each day to rest, how it can heal us, how it can be nourishing. We all know how tired and cranky and physically unwell we feel if we don't have enough sleep. So we've got to really think about here the benefits of sleep first of all. And Shakespeare really goes into some detail there as to the benefits that sleep can bring. We then got to think about that as a metaphor. Okay, so if Macbeth can no longer sleep, if he can no longer be soothed and rested and healed and nourished, okay, what is that representing? Okay, and it's the idea that he will never be soothed again or rested. Okay, sorry, I should say Macbeth there will never be soothed, he will never rest again, because sleep is for the innocent, and Macbeth is no longer innocent because of the murder that he has done. He has committed the ultimate murder, the regicide, of the king. So no sleep here is a metaphor for the punishment. Okay, this idea of damnation, that he is now damned, and no sleep is like a torture. Okay, he will never be able to sleep again. What I'd like you to do is to pause the video, think about the connotations of sleep and to write your notes down, and then start to think about sleep and not being able to sleep as a metaphor for Macbeth's punishment, okay, for his damnation of the sins that he has committed. Okay, our next idea is how, if we think of when we sleep, generally, I know a few of you might nap during the day, but generally we sleep at night time. Okay, so generally we sleep at night time. And now, Macbeth is awake in the dark. Okay, his guilt is keeping him in the darkness. Okay, so the sins he has committed and the guilt, he will never be in the light. And you can think of light and dark imagery. Light generally has those connotations of goodness and of heaven, whereas Macbeth now, sins and guilt equals darkness. He will forever be in the dark. Okay, so you can think about that light and dark imagery associated with sleep. Okay, pause the video and make sure that you have got those notes written down. Off you go. The third idea that we can look at when we're looking at sleep no more is the way that Macbeth says these words. He doesn't say, oh, I don't think I'll ever be able to sleep again. I don't think it's possible. He says, sleep no more. Okay, so we've got a really clear command there. Sleep no more. And it's repeated. Macbeth shall sleep no more. It's repeated throughout. So this command could refer to the voices and spirits that Macbeth hears. Remember, he'd seen that dagger before that he felt like was commanding him. It could be read as almost like a curse to himself. Or a spell. And that is a really nice link to the evil of the witches and how maybe they have influenced him. So this idea, the command, sleep no more, it shows how certain he is that he is damned, how certain he is now that he's committed this regicide, this killing of the king, that he will never be able to sleep again. Okay, and it shows how he believes he is cursed and damned. Okay, pause the video and write up those notes. Okay, and the final idea that we're going to explore is how this is another metaphor, but this time for his paranoia. Okay, so he knows he's killed the king, he's committed the ultimate sin, which if he's found guilty of treason, he would be executed in the most horrific way. So maybe this sleep no more, this idea he will never be able to rest, he will always be on his guard. never able to rest because he's paranoid that people will be coming after him, that people will find out about him, that people might try and do to him what he did to Duncan, because remember Duncan was asleep in his bed when Macbeth murdered him as well. So it's this idea that the sleep no more is a metaphor now for his paranoia, the fact that he will never be able to rest, he will constantly be on his guard, he fears being caught or being murdered himself, just like he murdered Duncan. Okay, so he really this sleep no more, he will never be able to rest, he's constantly got to be on the lookout for somebody trying to catch him out, because he knows how guilty he is. And we definitely see that in the rest of the play, where he's constantly conspiring, the death of Banquo, etc. He's constantly conspiring, he can never rest, he's always got to be on his guard, and sleep no more is that metaphor for his paranoia. So just to summarise our sort of key notes there, this sleep no more, it's really key. It's the reaction, the consequence of killing Duncan. It's his remorse, his immediate remorse that he committed that act. It's the realisation that now he is damned, and that command shows that he's certain that he is now damned. It's the metaphor for never being at rest again, never being innocent, for constantly being tortured and punished, and it's symbolic that he is now in the dark, and it's another metaphor for his paranoia. And we can also say that sleep no more is a manifestation of his guilt. Okay, so Macbeth's guilt is manifested in his inability to sleep. Physically, he is unable to sleep. Emotionally, he is unable to rest. Okay, so pause the video and make sure that you've got all of these notes down, because you will need them when it comes to writing your response to the lesson objective to explain what we can infer when Macbeth says, Macbeth shall sleep no more.